Awesome. So today we're talking about blue zones and secrets to living a longer and healthier life. And I'm going to be looking this way sometimes because I have it on a separate screen, my presentation. So I hope that's not too distracting for you. So my name's Meg Whaley. I work for the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, but before that, for 27 years, I was a health and physical education teacher in public schools. And one of my favorite things to do, besides teaching health, was I created an outdoor adventure class. So the district that I was working in at the time didn't have any adventure ed. And I created one for physical education. And when I left there, we were just starting to talk about how we could meld those two with physical education and science class. And I think it would be a perfect blend. And if anybody wants any ideas on how we started doing that, I would be happy to talk with you about that. But a lot of my love for health, my love for physical education comes from the outdoors. And I don't think I would have become a physical educator had I not wanted to share my love of non-sport physical activity with kids. I mean, clearly I still need to, when I was teaching, I needed to teach some of the standards through some sport education. But my favorite thing was to talk about hiking and kayaking and all of the things that you can do without a ball present necessarily, because there are lots of kids who don't like team sports and lots of adults who hated physical education because we were constantly graded on, 10 free throws for an A, 9 free throws for a B. And I was not good at basketball or other physical education things, but I love movement. I love being active. So why not try to incorporate that into classes and have kids love movement instead of thinking that it all has to be sport related. So that's how I got here. My contact information is on here. And if you have any questions after this that you think of in the next, coming weeks or however long it may be, please feel free to contact me either by email or by giving me a call. I'll probably answer the email way quicker than I might not even get the call. Sometimes it just does weird things. So email me to make sure that I actually can talk to you. All right, moving on. So we thought we'd start out with a quiz right away. Oh, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Victoria is monitoring the chat for me. We'll also have time for questions at the end. So here's a quiz for you. So you are going to keep track of your points on your fingers. So I think there's 7 questions maybe. So hopefully we all have, close to that number of fingers that we can keep track, or else, just go ahead and give yourself a point on a little piece of paper so you can remember what it is. Okay. So 1 point for each question you can answer yes to. All right, the first one is, I eat at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies every day. So a combination of. It doesn't have to be 5 veggies and 5 fruits, just 5 fruits and veggies. All right, second one, I stop eating when I am 80% full. So you're not totally full yet. There's still a little room. You might want more, but you're like, I think I'm ready now. Next one, at least 60 minutes of physical activity is a regular part of my day. Next one, I have at least 3 good friends that I can talk to, call if I need someone, call to celebrate, get together for coffee, adult beverages. Next, I belong to a faith or spiritual community and attend services at least 3 times per month. Next one, I manage my stress in healthy ways. And the last one, I have a purpose and know my why. You know what your purpose is. It might not be the job that you do. It might be something else. What is your purpose? All right. So remember that number, how many yeses you gave yourself. So first, we're going to start with some longevity statistics. So 10% of our potential longevity is in our genetics, only 10%. So I think that is a really great statistic to start out with, because that means that it doesn't matter, whether great grandma lived until she was 98 or, maybe she died when she was 60. It doesn't matter because that's only 10%. We can do a lot of things to increase our longevity, and not only our longevity, but our quality of life. So now we have some kind of depressing statistics that only 1 out of 5,000 people live to be 100. And 90, scientists, doctors say that 90 is a reasonable age to expect to live to. 90 is reasonable. 78 is the average life expectancy of Americans, but 76 is the age that most people live to in America. Does that make sense? That doesn't really make sense, but kind of. So the average lifespan is 78, or life expectancy, but the average lifespan is 76. There we go. I said it better that time. And a lot of times we have something called morbidity, which means that we spend anywhere between 1 to 10 years of those ending years of our lives not living up to our full potential that we could be living at that time. So maybe we, have surgeries, we're very sedentary, we're not getting out and living the life that we want to live. We don't have the quality of life that we want. That's a better word to say that. So we're going to call that morbidity. So the more things that you can do, which we'll talk about, can help increase your life expectancy, your longevity, but also the less number of years that you will have any morbidity. The other statistic that I found super interesting was that we have 35 trillion cells that turn over every 8 years with damage each time. So by the time you're 65 years old, you age 125 times faster than a 12-year-old. Just interesting, I think. So what are blue zones? And why are we talking about them today? So blue zones are regions where people have a higher than average life expectancy, often living to 100 years or more, and they live until they die. A lot of these people die in their sleep. They have a very short, little to no morbidity in their lives. And this guy, Dan Bittner, he's from the University of Minnesota, and he also worked with National Geographic. And he and a team went and studied these 5 famous blue zones that are all over the world. We have one here in the United States, Loma Linda, California. And they offered valuable insight as to how their lifestyles, their diets, and their community contributed to their longevity. And we're going to look at what some of those are. And they had things in common, even though obviously on opposite sides of the world, had a lot of things in common. So here is where they are, just to give you a little picture of that. So what makes blue zones special? And we sort of alluded to this in our quiz that we took. Healthy diets, physical activity, strong social connections, purpose, and stress management. So the first one, you are what you eat. Blue zone diets have a plant-based focus. A majority of their calories come from plants like fruits and vegetables and legumes. In Japan, they have a high rate of eating soy and soy products like tofu and things like that. And it does not affect their health negatively. Whereas I know we've heard lots of things maybe in the United States about soy, not being so great for us. Um, and it might be that they process things differently. You know, we could look at all of those things, but soy is a huge component in their diets. Um, Moderate portions, so eating until you're 80% full. Harahachibu in Okinawa. Limited meat, so 2 to 3 times a week, and typically lean cuts or fish. They see meat as kind of a side dish, as sort of a um, something that's special rather than the main dish, like a lot of American diets count on. Um, they have healthy fats, so olive oil and nuts are very common in all of the 5 places, and wine in moderation with meals, especially in Sardinia and Icaria. Um, and the wine in Sardinia actually has 80% more polyphenols than what we have here in the United States, any red wine that we drink. So I think that is also super interesting that their wine is just healthier there as well. Physical activity, so staying active the natural way. So people get low intensity everyday movement. They don't necessarily go to the gym. They stay active by walking, gardening, and doing manual labor. Most people walk daily, often to work or for errands. Gardening is a really huge thing. A lot of Blue Zone residents grow their own food and spend time outside. And then they have a huge connection to nature. Physical activity is often done outdoors, leading to a healthier environment and better mental well being. I'm guessing that some of you have looked at studies or read articles about forest bathing. And probably all of you know that when you go outside, you just feel better. So they really do this to the max in their lives. The next one is social connections. So they have strong support networks. Having close family ties and a sense of belonging is really key. So they surround themselves with what they call right tribe, which they're born into or just proactively make here in the United States. A lot of times I think we call that our chosen family. And they are people who will help you meet your goals, people who influence you into healthy things rather than hanging around with people who might cope with stress or do things in unhealthy ways. So that would be considered a right tribe kind of idea. Intergenerational living, families often live closer together with multiple generations under one roof. And that was a really big one, that the older that you get, the more status you had in all of these communities versus in the United States, it seems like the older we get, the less status we have, the less attention we get. You know, we're not revered and don't have purposes anymore, it seems. And all of the people in a family have a purpose. The people who, the grandfathers, grandmothers, um, great grandparents, great grandmothers with who stay home during the day, who don't necessarily maybe work outside the home, they all still have jobs of tending the garden or watching young children or animals or tending to animals, cooking food, things like that. They still all have a purpose, which is one of the other really cool things I think about the intergenerational living idea. They all have active social lives. So regular social gatherings, religious activities, and clubs are common. And they all have a real sense of belonging. So if you've done any Brene Brown reading, perusing, she talks about belonging as not fitting in. So let's look at fitting in versus belonging. When you fit in, you try to change yourselves to fit in to maybe a group of people. And when you belong, you are yourself and you feel like you are a part of that community and you can be who you are. And they have a strong sense of belonging connected to their community, provides obviously emotional support and reduces stress. Lots of these communities for 24 hours, they stop everything and focus on given or chosen family, friends, nature walks, and enjoying each other. Managing stress is another huge one. So, stress reduction in blue zones, people have daily rituals to manage stress. A lot of them have an afternoon nap situation, which I am totally for. Like before this meeting, if I could have taken a nap, that would have been so fantastic. Prayer, meditation is another part, walks in nature, and activities that help them just be their best selves. And this is one of the things that I don't think I didn't tell you this before I started this, but when I was teaching health in high school, I would start out the class with, why do you need to be here? Why do you need to learn about health? And I'd give them a quiz similar to what I gave you, and thinking about all of those things. And then as we went through the class and talked about the different areas of wellness, thinking about those different areas of wellness and thinking about what helps you be your best self in those areas. So, physical activity, I know that I need to get outside. And if I can get outside and walk around and just listen to the birds and enjoy nature, I know that that really helps me physically and mentally, really. I know that I need friends. I need to be able to call people. I like having connections, even if it's just a text message or something like that, with friends every day. The people I work with are some of my friends as well. So I have things that I know help me be my best self. And trying to do those things and have those things be a part of your everyday rather than waiting until you feel like you're not your best self anymore and your stress level is super high or maybe anxiety level. Um, and you have to take action to help fix that. Trying to take that proactive action to keep doing on a daily basis what helps you be your best self is kind of what we're getting to there. And then the last one is finding purpose. So, having a sense of purpose, having a reason to get out of bed every morning is linked to a longer life. It adds an additional 7 years to our life, having that purpose and knowing what it is and actively doing that on a daily basis. And sometimes people link their sense of purpose to spirituality. So many Blue Zone residents are involved in religious or spiritual practices that contribute to their mental peace and community cohesion. And I ask myself the question just out of curiosity, like, what happens if someone doesn't have a spiritual or religious community? Like, could I be in a book club? Could I get together with a group and crochet every week or knit or do an art club or have a walking club or something like that? I wonder if that would give us the same benefits. And I'm guessing that it would, because if we think about spiritual and religious communities, it gets us together. We talk about things that are maybe bothering us, gives us a sense of hope. And we can do that in other situations that don't require a spiritual or religious community. And I personally think that being outside in nature is one of the most spiritual things that I do during the week. So I would say that even if I don't necessarily go to church on a weekly basis, I have a very high spirituality. And I'm guessing and slash wondering if any of you feel the same way about that. So, lessons for a longer life, just a little recap. How you can live longer too: eat more plants, focus on whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and legumes, move regularly, incorporate those nature, physical activity into your day routine, like walking, biking, gardening, cultivate strong relationships, build that close knit community with family and friends, find a purpose, reflect on your passions and what gives you a sense of purpose in life, manage your stress, incorporate stress relieving activity like meditation, yoga, or taking time to relax, and then having that faith or spiritual community. So, final thoughts that the key to longevity is not just about genetics, but also about your lifestyle choices. When you look at maybe adopting some of these, if you look back at your quiz, we're going to come back to that right now. Obviously, the more things you answered yes to, the higher your potential is for living a longer, morbidity free life. Um, so, just doing small changes in diet, physical activity, social connections can help improve your quality of life and increase your life expectancy. And it's never too late to start living a healthier, more connected life.